Gunfire at the White House. Fresh details on the gunman and the security scare just yards from the president. President Bush promised to rebuild the military, but now the word is hold everything. Does one of the most popular rifles around have a deadly defect? Eye on America investigates. And she's taking on the world and aiming to win.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Investigators are still sorting out the details tonight of a security scare at the White House. It was just before noon. President Bush was inside the mansion working out, we are told. Suddenly, shots rang out outside the White House fence. The man who allegedly fired them was then shot and wounded by a Secret Service officer. A spokesman says the president was never in danger. CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts has fresh details tonight on what we know about the gunman. John?
Dan, 47-year-old Robert Pickett of Evansville, Indiana, is a former employee with the IRS. He has a history of mental problems, including depression. Police say he came to Washington today with a gun and a grudge. This was a scene Robert Pickett's Indiana neighbors could never imagine. The accountant had problems, they knew, but never did they imagine he would end up shot after a confrontation outside the White House.
He was a quiet type of gentleman, and he was a neighbor that would always wave or speak to you when he did see you out, and never caused no problems with anybody.
This morning, police say, the quiet gentleman snapped. Shortly before noon, outside the fence at the extreme edge of the south lawn, Pickett allegedly fired at least 3 shots from a .38 caliber handgun.
As I was just walking down the road, and all of a sudden everything starts closing, and everybody's pulling their guns, and it was serious. I mean, we got out of there.
It's not clear if any shots were aimed toward the White House, where the president was having a midday workout and the vice president in his office working. When police arrived, Pickett was menacing.
This subject was brandishing the firearm. He was waving it in the air. The weapon was pointed at the White House at one point and pointed in all directions, and there were pedestrians present.
Daily visitors were hurriedly ushered from the White House. The Secret Service SWAT team secured the grounds. After a tense 10-minute standoff and repeated demands for Pickett to drop the weapon, a SWAT team member fired a single shot to Pickett's right knee. Police believe he meant to harm himself.
He was possibly suicidal.
A former student at West Point Military Academy, Pickett has a history of mental problems. In 1987, while working for the IRS, he attempted suicide, claiming the IRS had been harassing him. He was fired in 1989. 5 years later, after seeking treatment for depression at this Baltimore hospital, he sued the government for reinstatement, but the case was dismissed. Sources tell CBS News Pickett had sent a number of letters to an Indiana congressman complaining about the IRS and that he seemed to be paranoid. And while he did make anti-government statements during the 10-minute standoff here, at no time, police say, did he directly threaten the president. Dan?
John Roberts at the White House. This was just the latest in a series of security scares at the White House in recent years, all of them, of course, raising new concerns about the safety of the president, as CBS's Bob Orr reports.
While the White House is an enduring symbol of freedom and power, it is also an occasional target of threats and violence, and a backdrop for bizarre events. Today's shooting marks at least the 5th time in 6 years that gunfire has erupted near the White House grounds. Perhaps the most frightening occurred in October 1994, when Francisco Duran raked the executive mansion with semi-automatic gunfire. While Duran was arrested, other would-be attackers have been shot by police. One homeless man was killed when he brandished a knife just outside the White House fence. The incidents have led to more security. The building is now protected behind concrete barriers and driveway shields. But retired Secret Service agent Ken Baker says it's hard to eliminate the threat.
It could be prevented in the sense of where it occurred by just simply extending the zones of security out another several hundred yards or putting magnetometers around Washington, D.C., but I'm not sure that's what we want.
Some suspects have gotten inside the White House fence. Most have jumped, like this man in 1978. But there have been even stranger breaches. During the Nixon years, a mentally disturbed Army mechanic buzzed the South Lawn in a stolen helicopter before he was shot down by uniformed Secret Service. In 1994, a despondent truck driver crashed a stolen plane near the president's Rose Garden. No intruder has ever completely breached security and made it into the mansion. But Baker says the Secret Service can't let down its guard.
As long as we're a democracy and have freedom of movement and mobility, the potential for an event like today will continue to exist.
This latest incident comes in the midst of a debate about whether to reopen Pennsylvania Avenue here in front of the White House. It was shut down to traffic after the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, with another shooting, the Secret Service may make a stronger case to keep it closed. Bob Orr, CBS News, Washington.
As for national security, the Joint Chiefs of the U.S. military seem to have been caught off guard by President Bush's apparent reversal of stated policy and new reluctance to give them what they were expecting, a quick infusion of cash for defense spending. CBS's national security correspondent, David Martin, reports tonight why the Pentagon brass were so surprised.
Over and over during the campaign, President Bush and his running mate Dick Cheney vowed to rebuild a military they said had fallen into disrepair during the Clinton administration.
Dick Cheney and I have a simple message today for our men and women in uniform.
Help is on the way.
But it won't arrive just yet. President Bush has told Defense Secretary Rumsfeld he can't have the additional $5 billion the Joint Chiefs of Staff say they need right away to cover unexpected expenses such as rising fuel costs and maintenance of aging aircraft. The president first wants the Pentagon to conduct a review of defense strategy, a process that will take months.
And he has sent a signal of fiscal discipline that there will be no immediate supplemental.
The Joint Chiefs were stunned by the president's action, especially since such requests had been routinely approved during the Clinton administration. Republicans on Capitol Hill say the military can't afford to wait.
I believe that we need to spend some money very quickly to address some of the problems that were identified in the campaign that all of us have known about for years in the area of readiness, spare parts, and immediate needs that have nothing to do with the long-term requirements.
White House aides insist President Bush will make good on his promise to spend $45 billion over the next 10 years to raise military salaries and improve housing. But when the Joint Chiefs met with the new president shortly before he took office, they had expected a quick fix for their most immediate problems. By the time they dined privately with him at the White House last night, they knew their new commander-in-chief will not be so quick to give them what they want. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
On another front, President Bush also appeared to reverse course today. First, the president's chief of staff, Andrew Card, told USA Today that 2 White House offices created by President Clinton on AIDS policy and race relations would be closed. Then, a few hours later, a U-turn. Bush White House officials said those 2 offices will stay put. Former President Clinton and Senator Hillary Clinton today returned $28,000 worth of furnishings they took when they left the White House last month. They say they thought the sofas, rugs, and other items were meant as personal gifts, but decided to return them after questions were raised about whether some were actually meant for the White House collection. This is a critical day in California's hunt for power sources it can rely on. President Bush refused to extend any further an emergency supply order that ran out at midnight. That's when a federal judge stepped in to decide what happens next. CBS's John Blackstone is tracking late developments. John, what's happening?
Dan, the federal court hearing now underway here could determine whether the lights go out here this afternoon. California wants electricity suppliers ordered to keep power flowing, but the suppliers are worried they won't get paid. From the courtroom to the state's main power control room, keeping electricity flowing has become one battle after another.
When you don't have enough supply, 1, and 2, when the supply you have is concerned about getting paid, it can act like it's not there, then that makes it 100 times worse.
Energy buyers here are almost constantly shopping for kilowatts.
If bad things happen, it's not because of us. We're doing our best to keep the lights on.
But energy managers aren't the only ones keeping a close eye on the flow of electricity. For California consumers like Ellen Valentine, what happens at the meter has turned shockingly expensive.
You just have to start watching every move that thing makes.
The meter hasn't changed that much.
The meter may not have changed much, but her electricity bill has. It's jumped from $35 a month to more than $140. Her share of a crisis that still seems baffling.
I don't understand it enough to see into the future what would be the best thing for me to do, and I haven't spoken to anyone who does understand it.
And paying a huge electricity bill for a tiny apartment has left her wondering whether it's time to leave California.
It makes me angry that everything in California costs more, and it kind of makes you feel silly for putting up with it.
And Californians may pay both as consumers and as taxpayers. Though the governor's office won't confirm the figure, it's believed the state is paying more than $30 million a day buying electricity. Dan?
John Blackstone. Next, here on the CBS Evening News, think America's drought problems are over? Ask the water police in Florida. And then later, what if this rifle does indeed have a dangerous defect? Eye on America investigates.
I've taken care of this garden from the very first seedling. We need each other. But when I got arthritis, I thought my gardening days were over. Then my doctor encouraged me to keep at it, because staying active helps keep joints from getting stiff. And to make it easier, he recommends Advil. It's the #1 recommended medicine of its kind for arthritis pain, and it's gentle on my stomach. My doctor's right. Advil and gardening work beautifully.
Advil, stronger than pain.
What's for lunch?
Chicken and stars.
Condensed soup? We're not feeding the kids anymore. There's a better tasting soup. Progresso chicken noodle has all white meat chicken and bigger vegetables. See the difference?
Much better.
It's time to go to the better taste of Progresso.
Sis, I snooped in your medicine cabinet. So? You switched to X-Lax.
Yeah, Correctol works with an artificial chemical. X-Lax works with natural senna.
Very effectively, too.
You tried it.
What a find.
What a snoop.
Good morning, guaranteed.
Finally got out of college.
Finally got a job.
And then?
Marriage.
Now what?
Kids.
What?
And a house.
How many bedrooms?
And appliances.
That's the easy part.
At your local brand source store, great value, selection, and service allow you to focus on the more important things in life.
And for the baby's room?
Baby? Oh. Baby.
Brand Source. We're your neighborhood expert.
Something amazing is happening. It will change the way you bake your cookies, sweeten your cereal, even drink your coffee. Introducing Splenda No-Calorie Sweetener. It's made from sugar, so it tastes like sugar, but it's not sugar. It's Splenda No-Calorie Sweetener. Pretty amazing, huh?
If today's stock markets have you looking for the stability of a money fund, choose the one ranked #1. The Strong Investors Money Fund. Call 1-888-4STRONG. You're one call away from a strong portfolio.
Enterprise? Hi, my car's out of commission, so I'm out of commission.
Enterprise will arrange to pick you up,
This is great.
drive you to our place, and get you on your way. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
In Florida, Space Shuttle Atlantis rose at sunset, carrying a crew of 5, and in the payload bay, the most expensive add-on yet, and to be installed in orbit on the International Space Station. It's a 30,000-pound science laboratory costing almost $1.5 billion. The weather for the launch could not have been better, but that's not good news when it comes to Florida's chronic drought, the worst since the 1930s. Government climate experts see no end in sight, and this has led to desperate measures. CBS's Bobby Harley is in Florida on the CBS Weather Watch.
The water police are crawling all over Florida.
I need you to cut the water off.
Leonard Rutledge hunts for water and people using it to sprinkle lawns or wash cars despite restrictions that stretch across the state. Florida's struggling with its worst drought in decades, but not everyone's paying attention. Were you aware of the water restriction?
No, I haven't seen any notices or anything.
This is part of the problem. Water's everywhere here. The bays, the beaches, the lakes, and the lagoons. Surrounded by so much water, it's hard to convince people there's a problem.
It is a real situation, and people, may not take it as seriously as they should right now. But it's only, again, going to get a little bit worse until possibly it gets better, and we don't know for sure when it is going to get better.
Vegetation as dry as hay has caused more than 300 fires this year, including on giant Lake Okeechobee. So parched, parts of the lake bottom are burning. blame an extremely dry season and a statewide water system too dilapidated to handle any shortfalls.
It's 50 years old. It's designed for 2 million people, and we have 6 million people now.
It's a delicate balancing act. Water levels can't get too low, or salt water from the Atlantic Ocean will move in and contaminate the system, causing damage far greater than any drought. For now, low water trickles keep nursery plants alive. The state's billion-dollar-plus agricultural industry is not yet threatened. But the rainy season is still months away, and forecasters predict any relief short of a hurricane may provide no relief at all. Bobby Harley, CBS News, Miami.
On the CBS Market Watch, the telephone company known as Verizon is eliminating 10,000 jobs, mostly, it says, through attrition. On Wall Street, stocks closed lower today. The Dow down 10 points. The Nasdaq lost 56. CBS Next. Allegations 1 in 100 of these rifles could go off accidentally. It would mean there are 20,000 dangerous guns out there.
There's some big news from Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships. Saturday service hours. Now it's even easier to get the service you need and the convenience you want. Come in for great deals on batteries, shocks, tires, and more. And factory-trained technicians who know your vehicle best. So for the right people, the right parts, and always the right prices, how does Saturday work for you? Quality care on Saturday at participating Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury dealerships.
What will I be like a year from now? How much will I grow? How strong will I be? In 5 years? In 10 years? Where does my future start? You'd be surprised.
Nice.
If you've got a business to run, Staples has everything you need at guaranteed low prices.
We got to get that contract signed.
Sir, did you order the Kung Pao chicken?
Yeah, it's going to be a long night.
Get the HP 45A Inkjet 2-pack for $48.98. Unbeatable prices. Staples, yeah, we've got that.
Dream, 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 dream.
Suddenly, a lot of people are dreaming about milk and all the great things that go along with it. The reason is simple. Lactaid milk. Lactaid is real milk, delicious, refreshing, and easy for you to digest naturally, so you can stop dreaming and start enjoying with Lactaid milk. Lactaid is just another name for milk.
If you have high blood pressure, you know all these cold medicines warn you not to take them. So take their advice. Don't take them. Take decongestant-free Coricidin HBP. Powerful relief that won't raise your blood pressure.
Oh my! Applebee's Steak Toppers! Top sirloin with your choice of irresistible toppings. It's got to be Applebee's. Eat good.
Does your company offer you a massage? How about complete sports facilities, daycare, or music with lunch? Her company does.
Y'all just bury me here. I'm just here forever.
Tomorrow, the best job in the world. Do yourself a favor and have your boss watch this report. Eye on America on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission today announced the recall of 400,000 gun safety locks distributed nationwide by AdStar Incorporated. All told, the commission tested 32 models of what were supposed to be child-proof gun locks. All but 2 types could open without a key. In some cases, it took just a sharp tap on a table. Ironically, while the government can order a recall of defective gun locks, it has no such regulatory power over guns themselves. And while dangerously flawed firearms may be rare, their deadly power makes them a unique threat to anyone in the line of fire. CBS's Jim Stewart has part 2 tonight of our Hard News Eye on America investigation.
In the world of firearms, this is an undisputed heavyweight. The Remington Model 700. Cops love it. Hunters have bought 4 million of them.
Come on, Blue.
Rich Barber liked it so much he bought 2.
I laid my money down. I thought I bought a real quality product.
Only now it's become his obsession.
Hey, Mom, I love you.
3 months ago, Barber's only son, Gus, bled to death from a Model 700 wound. Gus's mother said the 28-year-old gun fired when she flipped the safety off.
The gun went off. My finger was nowhere near the trigger.
And so say 14 other Montanans who responded to the news of Gus's death. The same thing with the same rifle happened to them, they said.
It's fair to say, though, that a gun should never go off when you disengage the safety.
Why is it called a safety? It should be called a trigger then.
Rich Barber wanted to complain about the rifle to someone in government, but he was quick to discover that thanks to a strong lobby, firearms are one of the few products in America which have no government safety or design standards. But there is a very long paper trail on the model gun that killed Gus Barber. The documents surfaced in lawsuits filed by this man, Missouri attorney Rich Miller, who has been dogging complaints against Remington for 16 years.
At last count, we had 1,500 customer complaints of similar malfunctions.
Miller has settled dozens of lawsuits against Remington, each time making essentially the same allegation, that the weapon's fire control system and two-piece trigger connector can be tricked into firing when the safety is engaged.
Guns don't fire unless you pull the trigger is the assumption that everybody begins with. This gun kills people.
And he's not alone in thinking so. Jack Belk is past president of the American Custom Gun Makers Guild.
My old design and function instructor said that trigger was just parts flying in loose formation.
You've known about this problem for how many years?
Since 1969.
Did you ever tell Remington about it?
Yes.
What'd they say?
Said they'd take it under advisement. I never heard any more from them.
In a written statement to CBS News, Remington said it had looked at the rifle that shot Gus Barber and found the inside of the rifle to be heavily rusted, and the trigger engagement screw, safety lever, and fire control mechanism all had either been adjusted or removed and reinstalled after the rifle left the factory. A spokesman added, however, that Remington is not asserting that this is what caused the discharge and declined to answer additional questions. They specifically had no comment on this 1979 internal memo, which was an exhibit in one of Miller's lawsuits. According to it, as early as then, the company had privately determined that 1% of 2 million early model 700s could be tricked into firing. But Remington concluded that would mean the recall would have to gather 2 million guns just to find the 20,000 that are susceptible to this condition. And that decision, say some experts, could be a huge financial hit.
A lot of people are going to listen to what you have to say and just say, well, here's another anti-gun nut. Here's another person just out to get the guns.
That's the furthest thing from the truth, because I don't plan on giving mine up anytime in the near future. This is not an anti-gun issue. This is a gun safety issue. End of conversation.
And just the start of one family's tragedy. In Montana, this is Jim Stewart for Eye on America.
She was advertised to a generation of Western fans as the Queen of the West. Dale Evans died today at the age of 88. She and her late husband, Roy Rogers, made dozens of movies, but are perhaps best remembered for 2 1950s television series featuring lots of music and occasional gunplay, but no bloodshed. Their theme song makes a fitting epitaph. Happy trails to you.
To you until we meet again.
Come on, let's go.
Sweetie, I'm sorry. I can't stay on the line. We're going to miss our flight. Well, I wish you could go too. Yes, I know how much you love Walt Disney World, but we can't take you with us this time. Well, for one thing, I don't think your wife and children would appreciate it.
Okay.
If you think a Walt Disney World vacation isn't the same without the kids, you're absolutely right. Call 1-407-WDisney and make the dream come true.
sells more office products to more businesses than Office Depot.
Try it both ways. Most dancers are afraid of losing a step. After I had my stroke, I was afraid I'd never dance again. Now I take Bayer aspirin every day, like my doctor said, to help prevent another stroke.
Aspirin is not appropriate for everyone, so be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
And when my body is sore, I take extra strength Bayer. It's that strong. It's great to be back.
Bayer. Take it for pain, take it for life.
Why are people tossing their yellow pages? There's something better. Switchboard.com, a free directory powered by the internet. It's business listings, it's people search, it's maps and directions. It's faster, and it's a smarter way to find everything in your town and places your yellow pages doesn't cover. Don't take our word for it. Listen to your neighbors. Switchboard.com. Think outside the book.
Coming up tonight at 6, it may soon be goodbye Kentucky, hello Tennessee, as the state lottery clears a major hurdle. We'll tell you more about that story coming up tonight at 6.
The Vendée Globe Challenge is a round-the-world sailing race that pits solo competitors against one another, the sea, and their own endurance. At sea since November, the leaders are now nearing the finish in France. Among them, as CBS's Mark Phillips reports now, is one whose courage, skill, and determination have quickly become the stuff of sailing legend.
Sometimes the numbers are enough to tell the story. A 60-foot boat, a 24,000-mile round-the-world non-stop race, 91 days out there so far and counting. And the number of crew on board throughout this ordeal? 1. 5'2" Ellen MacArthur, who has become an unlikely worldwide hero. Surviving on dehydrated food and 20-minute cat naps, she's poised to beat the odds and the big boys at their own game. Yet it's a dream that almost died when she smashed into one of those transport containers that fall off ships and litter the oceans. Her exhaustion after 2 full days of repair work was obvious in her confession to the onboard webcam.
It's such a relief. That was the hardest thing I've had to do in the whole trip. I was so tired and had so little energy, and fighting with something so big and heavy, yes, that was just, oh God, it's just too much.
Yet Ellen now finds herself just behind the leader, screaming for the finish on the west coast of France, in a race she once said she'd be satisfied just to survive. In satellite link interviews, she's become amazed at her worldwide fame.
Sharing this project with the world has been one of the most amazing things that's happened in the race, and I really do feel like I've not been out here alone, and that to me is very, very special, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
The race will likely end over the weekend. To many people, Ellen MacArthur is already the winner. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather reporting. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. Happy trails and good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
A look at one of the best jobs in the world. Eye on America tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
They're pulling their guns, putting on bulletproof vests. They started locking all the gates as we came out.
There has been a shooting at the White House, and a Tennessee congressman was right in the middle of it.
There are some filthy schools in Middle Tennessee, but why is this one so clean? The principal will tell us a secret that could clean up your child's school.
And history is made tonight at the state capitol. I'm Lydia Lenker reporting live. Tonight, you are one step closer to playing a state lottery in Tennessee. We'll have a very live report.
From your news and information leader, this is News Channel 5 at 6 with Chris Clark and Vicki Yates.
Good evening. For years, most Tennesseans have wanted it.